Hey, what's up? It's DTM here, and I'm just chilling. I wanted to make a daily video, and just because I really enjoy it. I'm not particularly energized. I don't really have anything specific that I wanted to share, so I knew that the ball would roll. I guess one thing I could talk about is the fact that I'm really unable to answer the questions the way I used to. Obviously, Facebook, I've been off that for a long time, and the YouTube, I kind of got to avoid that. It's like a little bit strange energy vibe, and I just don't. I'm really trying to get a lot done in my personal life. In my own consciousness, it just needs a lot of space. Plus, I was on just a run. The last 2 months have just been 24/7, literally. 12-hour days filming, 12-hour days at the PEP program, and in between all that stuff, just driving all over the place. Driving 12 hours a day in the hot sun, no air conditioning, all that stuff. No big deal. It's all good. I had a great time, so I'm just trying to unwind right now. So, a lot of people with questions, which I can browse, and I contact as many people as I can, but it's only maybe 10% of the people. Because I'm working on a lot of stuff myself. I kind of wore myself out on this last run, but you got to work, right? That's the funny thing about people. They don't realize how hard I work. I mean, you got to make the DVDs. That's hard work. You go do the programs and you help people out. If you work hard, then you reap those rewards, which I'm hoping to do in 2013. So I'm going to have to keep on plugging away and just, pinching pennies for the rest of 2012, unless something really cool happens. Anyways, no big deal. It's not poverty consciousness. It's a long-term business plan that I have. So I'm pretty smart, you know what I mean? And I'm willing to sacrifice now for a better future. So you got to have patience is one thing we'll talk about. Always talking about patience. By the way, the quality of the day today is nurturing as well as relaxation. So I couldn't decide between those two this morning when I woke up. So I just decided to choose them both. Relaxation and nurturing. So I just chilled out with Sophia all day in the sun. All we ate today was melons and mangoes. And we're definitely converging back on the fruitarian kick. I got back the day before yesterday, and then yesterday we were supposed to do all this stuff. Let's go to the hot springs, let's go do this, let's go do that, and I was like exhausted. So what I did is I went on a food binge, with sauerkraut and avocados and trying to get my energy up. But I was just tired, because I finally had a chance to decompress, and then I just felt terrible. Like once you get your body clean, because I was on fruit the whole time filming, making all those recipes, fruit. And then for the PEP program, making all that food for all those people, I ate fruit for the first couple of days, and then as I started to get a little bit more tired, that's when I go over to the hot peppers and the avocados, which I don't really like. I don't feel like they're nourishing cellular energetic foods, which is basically the center of my message, because a lot of people contact me for the health, and as I evolve and grow, trust me, I make plenty of mistakes and I have a lot to learn. I win some days and I lose some days. Most days I'm a real winner. It's the days that when you screw up and you eat 3 avocados and sauerkraut and your stomach feels all weird because you're normally like a fruitarian, juicitarian guy, that you get it. And you don't get mad or down on yourself, but you say, this is cool that this is happening, that you tried to force energy with stimulating food so that you could go and hang out with your girlfriend. But when you get the nourishing, fresh foods, then you have, I just should have honored myself and said, screw the hot springs, let's just relax, which is what we ended up doing, and we did that today too, which I need to do some more, relaxing, letting go, because I'm so wound up that it's not even funny. You might not be able to see it, but it's a real internal kind of a thing. You get so much thinking going on in your head, so many responsibilities, unlimited. People writing to me, and it's hard for me to, it's like I could just tell this person in you think you could make it in a 5-minute phone call, but it's never 5 minutes. It's always 15 minutes to a half an hour for the minimum. So I can do a couple of those a day, which I do. I do my best to just help, help as many people as I can in a day, but I always have to help at least one person. If I'm super lazy like I was today, I just called one dude today with HIV/AIDS, and I helped him, and so I'm just going to try to address, this is just kind of a touch-in video, as I just wanted to address like what's going on a little bit with me. I could definitely use some more rest, that's for sure. It's a big responsibility to constantly stay in a state of love. I mean, you guys wouldn't believe the insanity that I have to deal with. I don't really mention it because it gets worse, and it's really negativity. It's really, and I don't understand how or why I'm bringing it into my life. But it's very strange and bizarre behavior from people who I think have pretty serious mental disorders, and there isn't anything I can really do about it. So it's kind of strange, and I would appreciate anyone who wants to pray for the freedom, because I just want to do this work. You know what I mean? I just really enjoy it, and I'm growing myself. I'm understanding more. I make mistakes. Then I get back on track, and I see that when I'm on track and eating those high alkaline water fresh foods where it alkalizes the cells and softens everything, that tension goes away. There's a chronic tension in the atmosphere anyways, as being far as a human being, with all the decisions that need to be made throughout the day. But then adding to the food, the heavier food and stuff, that you really need that energy to be able to handle all the things that are going on in your life. Because most of us aren't spiritually enlightened beings that walk around in a state of, come see, come saw completely. We're always like, we got our kids, we got our bills to pay, we got relationships to work out, we have all these desires that we've, the karma of desire, which around here we're trying to relinquish wantingness and desire as much as possible, but everybody's a human being, so we're pretty screwed when it comes to, the ego looks outside of itself for happiness. As we become more evolved, we realize, okay, happiness is definitely not outside of us, it's definitely inside of us. So we sit and meditate, and we get that, but then we sort of go back out into the world, and then we look outwards again. And so it's a constantly fluctuating, but always trying to continually cultivate a more contemplative, inward lifestyle. The treasure of life is inside of us, and the fruit just allows us to have clean blood, clear thoughts, more steady, stable consciousness. There's the laws of the earthly mother, then there's the laws of consciousness, and some spiritual masters go straight to consciousness, and they don't even care what they eat, because it's just a body and it's going to fall over at the allotted time. Others of us, we have, this is part of our journey, part of our path. The path of looking at what we eat helps us to open up our awareness to other areas of life that could use examining. That's what it was for me. I started looking at what I was eating, and it led to the examination of all the other aspects of life. What I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and then it brought on this inner honesty. If you're not honest about how the food is operating, I mean, there are, laws. I mean, I literally think that if every single person watching this video stepped out in front of a bus going 70 miles an hour, that we would all get smashed and die. Now, maybe there's somebody out there that's an enlightened sage that has all the yogic practices, and the bus could go right through your physical flesh, and then you could come out the other side of the bus. But I'm willing to bet that 100% of the people have the belief that if a bus ran over you at 70 miles an hour, you would be smashed flat. And if you could change your beliefs at the last second as that bus passes right through you, maybe you're the Jesus type that could walk on water. I myself am at the phase in the game where I'm not particularly convinced that I can walk on water. Now, that's probably a limitation in my consciousness. Is it possible? Of course, anything's possible. It's an infinite field of infinite possibility. There's more possibility in the space smaller than the tip of my pinky. That's the infinite potential of the Godhead. But now, are we that? Or did we, this is a certain type of dimension with certain qualities, and it's got a certain heaviness to it. And there are expanded spiritual states, but generally the body isn't even designed to handle those higher levels of consciousness. You know, that's why the spiritual master's diet always changes at a certain level. He goes raw food up to a certain level, and then if he keeps going raw, he's going right off the planet. He's got to do something to get the body to handle the frequency coming through the nervous system. So that's why no one can judge anyone for diet, because you don't know what level of consciousness they're at. Some people have to eat ice cream that are highly spiritually illuminated people to keep their nerves from frying their cells and tissues. Jesus sweat blood. You know, the Buddha felt like his bones were breaking. I've talked to a lot of my friends. There's highly illuminated spiritual experiences, had very high states of consciousness where they explained a lot of things to me, and it all made sense because I had already read the literature, and then they just confirmed it for me. I haven't had that. I asked God, hey God, why don't I have these spiritual experiences? And he just says, you just don't need them. You have faith. I already believe in God 100%. Nothing's ever going to change it, because it's a knowingness that's deep down inside. That's why all the arguments of the atheism or whatever, that God is a delusion, is, you'll never get that, because it's so clear to see, that it's so obvious. I mean, how would the blades of grass grow if there was no God? You know what I mean? You can't break it down into, you know, materialistic reductionism every time, only because your mind can only reductionally materialize, you know, the billiard ball effect of this causes this, causes this, causes this. You have to be able to see the effulgence of the God. And, you know, so it's within everything, the technology, and there's no place that God is not. There's no separation or division. It's all one unity. But I don't know, that's just a knowingness. There's no scientific proof. It's another dimension beyond science. That's why I don't like to get trapped in science at all, really. I don't feel like science has answered any of my query, and it certainly has not brought me peace. When science can bring you peace, then that I will find that to be, you know, I will be interested in that. Science is great, but it's very limited and linear, and you're just looking for more data. What I'm trying to do is eliminate all the data and be, because peace is epic. It just sounds really good. And so, you know, of course I'm going to continue to teach the raw food stuff, always with the underlying message of there's more. There's more. And the spaciousness and the high vibration that comes from fruits is only a stepping stone. You know, it's just helpful. Can you become enlightened eating on a cheeseburger fast? You know, probably, like I said, anything is possible. But generally you'll find historically that on the spiritual pathway, many cultures, you know, and religious and spiritual, you know, pathways, whatever, would use dietary principles, practices vegetarianism for India, you know, don't take meat on Friday, you know, no bread on Tuesday, and however they work it out, you know, take the salt out, fasting, you know, stuff like that. The Essenes with the raw foods, I mean, and you just have this experience, you know, one day you eat like all fruit, you wake up the next day, you're at a whole nother level, and then you get like stressed out and eat a bunch of avocados and vegetables, which do not vibrate as high as the fruit and are much heavier and calorie dense, and you feel it the next day, and you have this like, whoa, you have this thing where you're just trying to get yourself through this life. Everybody does it. I mean, I was out there in the middle of the nowhere, drive 12 hours a day, stressed to the max, no whole foods for the last couple days, no fresh fruits or vegetables in the cooler, and the only thing I had was baked potatoes. So I ate 3 baked potatoes, and I felt fine, you know, because I was starving. Because you go across the pavement at 70 miles an hour for 12 hours in the hot sun with no air conditioner, you're just kind of frazzled. and you're like looking around, you're like going Subway iceberg salad. I could have had that, but I just needed something. But I don't like all the junk. But I knew a plain baked potato, at least it has no chemicals, you know what I'm saying? So we all make those decisions, and I don't care what anybody says. You know, everybody out there, nobody does it perfect. You think the guys on YouTube that are talking this and that are doing it perfect, but they're not, because I know them, and I know their families, and I know their friends, and I know the little things they do. And I'm not going to say nothing about nothing to nobody. Don't fall into no illusion that everybody don't get a little stressed sometimes, or get stuck in the middle of some place where there's nothing to eat. There's no bananas. You don't even get to go, you know, the gas station bananas, man, that are unripe are a great emergency source, but sometimes there's not even that. You know, so nobody's perfect. So a lot of people, they pretend they're the perfect little raw food as she land and all that, but it's not true, you know what I mean? So everybody's just trying to make it through this world, and the conditions are always changing, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be realistic, heal myself to the level that I want. When I'm done, I'll be done. But until then, I'm not done. So I can help a lot of people by expanding, you know, the energetics. So basically right now, you know, I'm just trying to explain to people that you need more space in your cells. You don't need a lot of heavy nutrients, heavy proteins. Some people like to be bigger and heavier and slower. But, you know, for me, I'm just teaching it from one angle, which is lighter, freer, more flexible, eliminate diseases, lose weight, heal, energize, and then more of a spiritual illumination, light, clean, high vibrational flow. Your health will return when you release or relinquish or eliminate the obstructions to the flow of your consciousness. Is that a good way to say it, or can I say it any more clear than that? I mean, there's a divine flow flowing through all of life. Heavier energies slow that vibration down. It's not a bad thing. And the lighter energies lift that up. It depends on where you're at in the game. I'm sort of on the way upwards and outwards. But sometime I might get spiritualized and need to eat heavier foods to bring it back down. Sometimes I go to environments where there's so many people that I have to eat a couple avocados, man, because they're just... I can't be a fruitarian when there's 80 people asking me million questions, and they're all lined up and they want to spend 15 or 20 minutes with me, and I don't have to, but I choose to sit there for 2 or 3 hours during meet and greets and stuff and other different types of things. And it's like, you know, to me it's important. You guys watch these videos every day. You come to the meet and greets. I'm going to buck up. I'm a silent dude. I like to be alone, sitting by myself, doing nothing. It's hard for my mind to do because it wants to be productive and get out there, and because we're programmed for that. But no animal in nature runs around trying to be productive. They just be. And we wear ourselves out. I've been doing that a lot because I'm trying to save the world, save myself, and get caught up on some financial stuff, you know, so I can just get done with that. That's been going from way the hell back. And everyone's like, Dan, you're the Liferegenerator. You've helped other people. You should be free. But I'm not at this time quite yet. I got a little bit more work to do. And I still got to invest back into RYL, Regenerate Your Life. Because making DVDs and building the website, you got to keep putting the capital back in. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I had my truck appraised for $100. You know what I mean? I drive a $100 truck. And then when I asked for $100 for a juicing class to come learn from the #1 dude who knows more about juicing than anyone on the planet that I know of. Maybe there's somebody somewhere, but I don't see him online anywhere. I'm sure there's somebody somewhere that knows more about juicing than I do, but I've been doing it every day for 15 years, so it's like I'm the Tony Robbins of juicing, and I'm charging like $100 for a juicing class. Most of that goes to the space and the vegetables because I use organic and I feed everyone full servings. And then you go up on YouTube and people are like idiots, but they're just poverty, and I got to remember that. They're broke and they're always going to be broke, and that's not the way I've been. I've already been broke, and I tell you what, being broke or having money doesn't make you any more spiritual. You can be dead broke and be spiritual, and you can be a billionaire and be spiritual, love God and love people. Has nothing to do with anything outside yourself. So, you know, I'm gonna get out of. I'm gonna do this thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be living an abundant life because I got people that I got to help out. I got my family to help. I got my lady. I want to just help everybody. I'm always generous with the dudes on the street. I give. Jesus said one time when I heard this, Jesus said, "Give to all who ask of you." You can be rest assured, nobody that comes up to me and asks is turned away. Whether it's a quarter, sometimes I make these people's day. I'll hand them a $20 bill. They look at me like I'm Jesus himself. And I say, it ain't no thing to me, man. Because I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm giving them $20 bill or a $5 bill. I don't care what they spend it on. I'm not giving it to them because I want to get something back from the universe or whatever. I'm giving it to them because as someone who's generous, you know, you're the winner when you can have it to give. To you, $20, you know, it's like a third of a tank of a gas, which you're going to drive out in half a day. You know what I'm saying? I spend like $100 a day on gas when I'm driving across the country. So when I give them a $20 bill, you know, and I know that they're just hungry or they want to go get a drink, what difference does it make to me? When Jesus said, "Give to all who ask of you," I said, man, that's what I'm going to do. Because I used to be one of those dudes on the street bumming for money. I used to have a joke. I can live for $5 a day. You know what I mean? It would either be 3 Jumbo Jacks from Jack in the Box and 2 22 ounces, or if I really wanted to get my buzz on, I'd have 3 22 ounces Mickey's 99 cents and then 2 99-cent Jumbo Jacks. And that's how I lived for a long time, you know. And I would always get extra vegetables. I didn't know anything about raw food at the time or vegetables so much, but I just wanted more for my money, and the pickles and the lettuce and the tomatoes are free, so I'd always have extra vegetables put on. And little did I know that that led me into raw foodism. I'm just kidding. But anyways, more stories from the street. Yeah, I've been wandering around for like 22 years, you know. Since I was 16 years old, I've been pretty much just wandering. Vans, old apartment buildings, abandoned buildings. Not too cool to be a womanizer, but did that quite a bit just to not die and freeze in a dumpster somewhere, you know what I mean? Lots of crazy stuff that I did, you know, and I don't feel guilty. I mean, you gotta survive, you know. I just didn't, things weren't that great. And I'm not complaining because I'm glad everything worked out the way it did, because there isn't a single person out there I can't have compassion for. I'll sit in a room of billionaires, we'll all get along. I'll go to sit with the bums in the alley, we'll all get along. Why? Because that's how I roll, dude. People are people. It's right here. Everything I see is what I feel intuitively from you. And I go here and there, and some people really inspire me and are really cool, and I let them into my heart. And other people, they really want to get in, but their intention and their vibration is not straight legit, and I edge it out. They don't get in. It takes me a minute. I gotta trust people. I'm like, what's up? What are you trying to get from the Liferegenerator? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to like share a little bit of something, my story, my little trip, whatever. But I mean, I know I play it off like I'm your friend. And in a big, broad sense, I am. But then when I go places, people are like, why don't you want to spend a whole bunch of time with me? Because it's like, I'm already, you know, been working my butt off for a long time, man. Just to not really, but I'm still just building the foundation. It's not like I have a real plan. I'm kind of like sitting here, you know, me and Sophia, we're just like, what the heck are we going to do with our life? You know, so we just chill because we're both free, you know, to do what we want. I mean, she's got a job, I got a job, you know, but we're free and we're like, we can do anything. So we just sit here right here in the front yard in the sun all day, eating fruit, relaxing, enjoying each other's company. And it is the most enjoyable of company. And we just keep it on the down low a little bit, but I'm just sharing a little bit with you about my best friend, man. I'm glad to be back in Oakland, just chilling. And I'm home. And it's this little room with a little kitchen and a little bathroom, and that's it. And I'm looking for a place right now in the Bay Area, so if anybody actually has any rental property or something, Natea wants to come stay with me, but I gotta have some good place, you know, and I'm gonna maybe have to get a job or something. Like maybe go back to window cleaning, which I didn't really want to do, but I'll do it for my daughter, you know. I'll do it for Sophia. I'll do it for myself. I don't really need much. You know, I do eat the best food. I really do. And I've been staying in a lot of nice motel rooms, Motel 6, you know what I mean? 50, 60 bucks a night. I live in a motel room, you know, because I don't want to go back to any other stupid thing. So that's where my money goes, is gas, motel rooms, and food. You know, so there's Mr. McDonald out there partying, right? So I'm irresponsible, and all I'm about the money. No. Y'all wouldn't even know me. You know what I mean? You got to know me to know me. And every day I say, please God, just help me. You know, to just be good. To do good. I got mad skills, man. I got mad skills in the kitchen. I could fix anybody up. I could get anybody feeling better right quick. Now sometimes I overwork myself and then I reach for the stressful foods. You know what I'm saying? Everybody reaches for the stress foods because it's stressed out, man. It's hard work out here in this life. That's why I ain't trying to be one of these raw food punks that has all the answers. It's talking about this and that. Like you're 24 years old and you ain't got no kids, no job, no nothing. You live at home with your parents. It's easy for you to eat bananas and run, you know what I mean? But once you get into the real world, you're working. And you are doing it, dude. And you are going to be pulling out the hot peppers once you're like, no sleep. Because when you channel that divine energy, you try to go back to your motel room and sleep, it's 3 in the morning, you're still because you just channeled the divinity for the audience, the people. And then you got to get up at 5:30 to meditate and do it all over again. And you get to work by 7, you channel that energy again, and then you wake up and it comes through. But pretty soon, that you're getting like faded. You're like, oh, I can't wait till this thing's done. You know what I mean? Even though it's fun, and you love helping people, the way I do it takes a little bit more juice because I don't get to just go home, go to work, and have a nice, steady, stable thing. I'm always just having to make stuff up as I go along. Always having to work with the sleeping cycles and work with the diet. Like I can't get my hands on this or that. I'm out here, I don't know the environment. Then by the time I get to know where the stores are and stuff, I got to move on again. So I never get quite a chance. But that's what I'm looking for. To get stabilized here in the Bay Area. So that I'm close to my best friend, and then Natea can come down and stay. And I want to juice people up. I want to juice them up. I want to fruit them up. I want to teach them to detox and regenerate. And I got to work on myself because I got so exhausted this last time. Today I decompressed a little. I got a lot more decompressing to do. I'll tell you that right now. Just letting it go, you know. The worries, the fears, the anxieties about this life. And I'm going to try to get stabilized somewhere at a desk and answer questions and help as many people as I can, you know. Because it is so simple, but you just got to do it. And I have the motivation. I've been working at this for a long time, and I'm talking about people are deeply blocked. And I'm not talking about just get your colon cleaned out. That's okay. And I'm not just talking about the next level, which is getting the inflammation out of the colon wall or the tissues that have been, they get so inflamed. The calcification of the blood veins and stuff from overeating. I mean, I was a bodybuilder, a drug addict, and then I was on the gourmet raw, you know, and it's not much better because the abrasiveness of the soaked nuts and all those spices and all those sauces that they use, God knows what's in that stuff. Your blood is the river of life. So try eating watermelons for a few days and see how you feel. And then go over and eat at a raw food restaurant with 47 different ingredients. You're not stepping that much further into it. Now the politics of it is going to be people ranting and raving, no, raw vegan gourmet is way better than brown rice and vegetables or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'd rather have some plain brown rice with some steamed vegetables on top of it than a cashew burger with cashew sauce and cashew cheese, you know, mixed with all the sauces and stuff like that. I'm not against it. I make videos with gourmet stuff, but it's a little bit more simple for sure. But I really put a lot of thought into what I'm going to eat and try to keep it as simple as I can while simultaneously feeding that part of myself. But I'm getting to the point where I see now it's like all these other fancy foods, it's up here. You think you want it, but then when you're done eating, you don't feel that great. And you're like, damn. You eat fruit for a couple days and you get the light in your eyes and the laser beams, and you feel really good and you feel light and you're getting a lot done. And then you're like, oh yeah, let's try this little saucy, goopy, raw foody, cheesy, dehydrated thing or something. You're just like, damn. It's like you fall from grace. You know what I mean? So pretty soon you just get on it. You're like, look, y'all just eat whatever you want, but I'm on a fruit diet. Because that's what works for me. Because once you start graduating in this and advancing in the levels of awareness, God is telling you what to do. And if you don't do it, your intuition is telling you what you need to do. I can't tell you what you need to do. I can tell you that you need to learn to listen to yourself. You need to learn and figure this out on your own. And I'm always going to promote fruits and vegetables, because it's just common sense. I've seen it time and time again. When nothing else works, the fruits and vegetables come to the rescue, especially the fruits and the green juice. Those are my two favorite things, because you don't need all this nutrition. Nutrition is like old school, man. We need the energetics of cellular regeneration, cellular energization through the bioluminescence. These fruits and humans and every living thing emits a bioeffulgence of God light. But what level? That's why one master raises you up, and this other people over here that are just thinking, I hate this and I want to figure out how I can get more stuff from you. I want to get something from you. And the master is over here emanating an effulgence of his own radiance, of the divinity, of the knowledge of divinity, and you're just sitting there. It's lifting you up. And then you go to this other person and they're just, oh yeah, no problem. But they're thinking in their mind, how can I take this sucker's money? And it pulls you down. Or some other kind of equal greed, fear, shame, and lower energy fields. So what I try to do is be like the master. Just freely be, I pray. Say, God, just make me a dude that, lifts people up. That's what I want out of this life. And I don't want to take no credit for it. I just want to feel your presence. I want to be consciously in contact with God. That's what makes me feel good about life. Is that the creative, eternal energy is right there. It's in me. It is me. And I have nothing to fear and nothing to gain and nowhere to go except to be the love that is the divinity, that is the underlying substrate of all that is. And so this was a video, a real short video, to just reconnect with all the wonderful people that watch these videos, that have sent so much love. I love the fruits and veg, man. I love the juicing and the raw foods. And I love God, and I love all the little tidbits and nuggets of wisdom that I've picked up over the years from teachers, applied it to myself, and made it my own knowledge and wisdom. And have I mastered anything? No, I'm still struggling through this life like anyone else, but that's because the ego is still involved in the game. If I could be enlightened, would I be? Of course I would choose that, but it has to happen in its own time, So I'm going to continue to serve you and hopefully inspire you, to help you to heal your body by following the laws of nature, chemistry and physics, if you will. Not so much of a science level, but at the level of intuitive knowing. You look at a fruit, eat a fruit, you're like, that's soft, juicy, easily absorbable. You poop it out like 8 or 10 hours later. It's not fermented or rotting. It just energized you, hydrated you, filled you up, satisfied you, and illuminated you at a real subtle level as well. Helping to open up chakras and keep the vital flow flowing through you. And the heavier foods can be obstructive energetically at more simple levels. You know, you can always stay tapped in through the crown chakra that I am the infinite light, period. And regardless of what you eat, it doesn't matter one bit at all. So it depends on where you're at in the game, you know. Anyways, this was a fun video to make, and I'm very mellow and at peace. And I'm going to continue to make Life Regenerator videos of various energies, tones, and recipes and stuff like that to empower you with all the knowledge that I have about all the little things you can do to improve the function of your vehicle. So soften it up, hydrate it, alkalize it, give it a lot of rest, wipe its butt after you poop. That was a joke. But still, you better do that. Unless you're a fruitarian totally, and then you don't really need toilet paper, which is kind of funny. And I'm not kidding either. It's just like, whoa, dude, awesome. When you start eating too much of that other weird stuff, you're like using half a roll. I gotta get out of here before I start telling any more of my nasty jokes. This is like a 40-minute video or something, but I guess I needed some psychotherapy. So thank you very much for your time today. Who's helping who here? Are you helping me, or am I helping you, or are we helping each other? You know I gotta do it. Subscribe to these videos and sign up for my email list at regenerateyourlife.org, which is also referred to as the Insiders Club, because there is an Insiders Club video coming soon. I have been just swamped Ola, and I'm always worried, like, oh, I can't get up here and make a video like this because I'm so mellow, you know. I did it anyways because most of you I trust, you know, really. And you know, I know that I'm fine no matter what happens with people saying whatever. Because people say a lot of weird stuff, texts, emails trying to tell me about my love life and what they think, my financial life, and I got all these people telling me what to do, and I'm sitting out here going, God, please teach me how to sit here and do nothing and be okay with it. You know what I mean? Because I need some rest. Deep down rest. And I want to encourage other people. How can I teach you to do what I would tell you? Get some rest. Simplify your life. Eat good. Don't worry about all the stuff. Cut it out. Cut the stuff out. And live a simple life. Learn to enjoy simple things like laying in bed, watching Robert on the videos, you know, and listening to the fruitarian thing. Yes, you know it's true. If you can handle the ride, you get stuck in the mind, and then you need meat and all this other weird stuff. But it isn't really true, because you can just prove it to yourself, you know. And if you never do that, then all you are is a theory and an opinion. But if you do that for 12 years on no meat, and you're super glad that you do that, because you can feel the difference. Because I ate meat all my life, and I was a bodybuilder and everything else. And then you go without, and then you go to the fruitarian levels, and you're like, oh yeah, baby. You can't even go back. Can't even go back. Too sensitive, too aware. You want to feel good. Want to feel good? Eat that fruit, drink that green juice. Don't be afraid to suck down those green juices either. 64 ounces of pop will do. You know, 2 jars of juice for one meal. Go for 3 or 4 hours, no problem. Hydrate, alkalize, detoxify. Regenerate your life on every single level. This isn't just about food anymore, baby. Going to the top. Thank you so much. I hope that you feel like you got to know me a little bit better. And I hope you're not one of the psychos that's going to chase me down and find me. Tell me what you think about what I need to be doing with my life. Because from this point on, it is up to the big cheese. I belong to that alone. Amen. Thank you. I love you. That's the truth as a human being. Now don't come chasing me down just because I said oh, the things I deal with, you would not believe. You wouldn't even believe it if I told you. It's more bizarre than Alfred Hitchcock and the X-Files combined, man. You'll never see anything that I experience in the movies. They're not that creative or psychotic. Oh, Lord have mercy, the Liferegenerator. What have I gotten myself into? Alright, see ya.